sense. Praying for a way to get a handle on this. Couldn't understand my inclination. Really led me to devastation. So I studied metaphysical education. I know Soljet is my destination. Then you in, I have reservations. I have no time for that conversation. But when no games, no X, no A. When you drop bombs, that's the one I hate. And right now, ain't straight for your mind again. Wake up like people and take a stand. Or I stay asleep when I'm at the street. Either way it goes, either reason here. I'm pushing egos like stolen cats. I got youth influence like world man's called better yet. Like I live Muhammad. My voice so strong, my opposition is armed. You feel me? That means I'm never losing. My soul's on rise, my head check moving. Beyond the clouds, to the stars of space. People don't triple when I forget the race. Body decisions, keep it body six. Many people don't believe so power exists. But I know I'm a six. Put me on my nine. Just a plane mathematics when you step to mine. But you can't see no inner vision. You stuck in a land of indecision. Stop believing what they say is true. And all the things that they say that you should not do. Live another stuff. Be a part of the group. The underground movement is the thing to do. Stay true to the red, the black and the gray. Stay true to the revolution and battle it. All gangsters unite. Keep the family tight. You can see how hard I'm working in the life. I feel fly. You know I'm certified, don't act surprised. I see you looking, but you're looking at. This short combination won't cut like glass. Kola, Soljet, and Metaphysics. We leave back feelings like Schindler's List. Going crazy on the tracks like I've always done. You thought you would take me out? You ain't the one. Full circle around like game. I was 7 years old when I entered this game. Big bitch, stretch me out, remain the same. Like God Almighty, I got real name. Like David, this now. And if two means life, it's gonna bring me to you. This is only Genesis, I put the Lord. The depths of my mystery, the ocean floor. If you're ready for it, man, that's the day you fake. But my people are the only ones that came to debate. And most of the time, I spend myself. Peace, love me, and I for someone else. Uneducated by jail scholars and makers. The first will be the opposite of you demons and jaded. Question all systems exposed and lies. Hate to step aside, cause I'm on the ride. I'm on the ride. I'm dignified. I'm magnified. I'm justified. I'm fortified. Not testified. They really lied. Still sanctified. Now sanctified. I'm qualified. I'm satisfied. I'm electrified. Been criticized. And victimized. Still I'm on the rise. Still I'm on the rise. Soljet up. Welcome to Metaphysical Monday. Y'all stay tuned and be patient with me, please, tonight. As I always ask, right now we are playing On the Rise by myself, High Priestess Sister Kola Soljet. You can find it under Kola Soljet on the Rise here on YouTube, along with other music that I make if you're interested in a little street consciousness and high elevation music. So I'll be starting shortly. I'm late per usual, especially these days. Give me a moment. I see one person out there. Give thanks for your energy, for tapping in. Um, so tonight, I wanted to talk about, I've been having a lot of things going on. As a matter of fact, tonight, um, I came on later because, as I told you guys, my spiritualist work, sometime that kind of overtakes, the things that I intend to do. So Metaphysical Monday is very important to me. We've been through quite a lot of changes. I just want to give thanks because we are now approaching the third year of Metaphysical Monday. I started on YouTube. I had a much bigger audience at the time, but it started like this. But I switched platforms, and so you gotta. And there was a lot of adjustments that were being made during that time. So anyway, man, how's everybody doing? Everybody that's tapped in, everybody that will be tapped in. We've been in some interesting times. And yeah, I have the avatar on because, I'm doing my spiritual work right now too. At the same time, I'm setting things up. And sometimes the spirit get high and sometimes I get real involved, emotional even. So I just want to welcome y'all again to Metaphysical Monday. I am High Priestess Sis'Star Kola Soljet. Y'all pull up a chair, tap in, and let me know where in the world tonight or tomorrow or whenever you tap in that you are watching from. Again, tonight's show is called The Pressure Cooker. Why the pressure cooker? Well, we got a lot going on right now. We have a lot going on in our personal lives. There's a lot going on in the media, in the Black community. Um, Everybody is going back and forth about Carmelo Anthony and this man, young boy Austin. And all I can say is, prayers to both of the families. I don't want to go too deep into it's so many opinions and things already being put out there. We know that the time that Carmelo Anthony was given is a little over the top. It's a lot over the top, actually, 35 years. But at the same time, again, because there's so much unrest, I don't really need to get into that. It's enough on the internet. Um, Not only do we have what's going on in the media, there's also the young man that was shot by the Asian storekeeper. And, that brings up a lot of stuff from like when Latasha Harlins was murdered. So, it's a lot of, again, it's causing a lot of political unrest. And we got stuff already in our own government. Now, just imagine we have all of that going on, plus what's going on in our own personal lives. There's no need in playing games. You see a lot of people kind of crashing out right now. I'm going to put my camera on, you guys. Just give me a moment. A lot of people are sitting in the heat right now, including myself. And there's a lot of people walking around pretending not to be, putting on the fake love and light mask for the world. But then the moment you get behind closed doors, you're melting. Okay, this message isn't for everybody. But when the pressure is high, it is hard to pretend. Now, we talk about manifesting, we talk about being mindful, positive thinking, frequencies aligning with actions so that we can get what we want, becoming what we think. But at the end of the day, nobody's bigger than the program, like I said last time, right? So I was just kind of sitting in my thoughts and I'm asking Spirit, like, what should I write about tonight? What should we be talking about tonight? And I'm gonna tell you this now. And I didn't go live last week. I forgot. My bad. My apologies. I didn't forget to go live, but I didn't go live because there's just so many things that's going on that I'm in the midst of. Dealing with a lot of things by myself. And hey, that's how life is sometimes. But It's just been a lot of things that I had to handle. And honestly, I've been exhausted. I've been doing a lot of work, and like all this weekend, I intended to do content on Dark Mirror Intuition and on other platforms, including this one. But I didn't produce much because my body was just exhausted after I do my day work, right? And even that has been a pace. Let me try and turn my camera on and see, yeah, because it keeps blinking out. Hey, everybody. Yeah, my eyes are a little, I've been having allergies and just different things. And honestly, last week I was actually sick. I had ended up getting like this summer head cold. So that was the reason. It took me a few days to recover. I lost my voice. My dad had a party, and that's where I got the cold. My dad had a birthday party. Shout out to the Geminis. Happy birthday. It was really fun because I'm always in the house, always, um, not just doing my work, but I kind of live in, isolated a lot. I'm here in the South, and, just the way it's been. I'm hoping to change that soon, but I wanted to talk about this pressure cooker that, I've been working with clients, and I even did, I had things were a little slow, and I did do a daily bread ritual, which, um, we'll talk about that. And it did help, so, but anyway, let me go ahead and to speaking to those with heavy hearts, those that are continuing to push even with all of the pressure, those of us that are not complaining to everybody and just trying to handle things silently, attempting to take everything on ourselves, not even, and some people are breaking, but the pressure cooker, it creates a lot of different outcomes based on how you deal with pressure, because we know pressure creates diamonds, right? So this pressure been, some of us have been in this aspect since last year. I'm gonna talk a little bit about the astrological aspects of it, but not too much. A lot of this intense and heavy strain right now is coming from, well, we're feeling it with money, plans stalling out, things feeling stuck, and these are things that I've been seeing over and over in my readings and with clients and with myself too, and we like like, when is this gonna end, right? Sometimes we really, we're starting to wonder, like, how long is this pattern gonna continue? We spent all this time with Saturn and Pisces last year, and still coming into this year, right? And Saturn, I'm not gonna go, like I said, not heavy into astrology tonight, but Saturn is a planet of restraint. It's a planet that makes us pause. It's extremely heavy. It demands of us to, in order to move forward, it demands of us to make the changes that we need to change in order to create a new structure, a form, discipline. And some people never had it, but it kind of goes back to building the house, like the three pigs, right? Once I learned, I remember when I had a store, and I'm gonna just give you guys a little bit of this, and I've told this story before, but when I had my shop, Ocean's Closet, it was so much that I thought I knew, and I didn't know. I was, younger, inexperienced, didn't even consult anybody for help on the business aspect of it. I just had some money and thought, like, I'll just buy this stuff and these things will happen. But when everything collapsed, to make a long story short, when the pressure was too much for me and I didn't realize what it really was. See, I've been in the pressure cooker before, we all have, some more than others, some deeper than others. But before I even knew that the Three Little Pigs was a Masonic poem, which I found out after that, um, I heard clearly when I was almost like, why, did this endeavor fail? What happened? Where did I go wrong? And I was told clearly, you didn't use brick. And I'm like, huh? I heard it in my mind, you didn't use brick. I said, I didn't use brick. I don't know where that came from. And it just reminded me, I said, oh, the Three Little Pigs. I used straw, I used sticks, but I didn't use brick. So it was a lot of us for a long time who didn't build with brick. And sometimes it sustains us for a short periods. But eventually the foundation give way because a weak foundation, it doesn't make a good long time structure, right? Then there's times where we had structures that did work for a season, but now what we're dealing with is a time where those structures are no longer serving us. And some people are dealing with this more than others. Some people in signs and stuff, are feeling it more. Virgos and heavy Mercury energy, Geminis, Leos, Capricorns, different signs have been, even Tauruses have been through some changes. Um, and I'm not limiting it to those signs only, but those in particular stand out. But we spent a lot of time with Saturn in Pisces. Pisces deal with the ideas, all the stuff that's up here, the imagination, spirituality, things that sometimes just, is all over it. It floats in the air. It could be abstract. It could be artsy and creative. And Saturn is not saying that that's a wrong thing, but what Saturn demands of us is to ground all of those abstract ideas and thoughts and things that kind of just float. And the hardest aspect is for those that, like myself, who was used to a certain flow of things, and when that time comes when it's no longer efficient. And we know that it's not efficient. We got our first warning was last year. Certain things that was working is no longer working, whether that's relationships, jobs, people, environments, whatever that is. But some of us stayed with it because it's all we knew, right? Um, we also suffered. And like I said, a lot of these aspects started in March of 2025. If you know, you know. If you don't, then be grateful, give thanks. But that was a slow and heavy emotional crucible. It was foggy. It was a time of looking at the horizon and second guessing ourselves. Now, what's interesting is that it was a lot of, like we'll get this reprieve, this little bit of, catching our breath, and then, it's been a lot of procrastination and just playing around on the sidelines, instead of just getting into it. Saturn is still demanding the structure, but some of us couldn't let go of the illusion. We want to live the dream, but we couldn't let go of the fantasy. Take that as it resonates. The universe even gave us some breathing room again. Like a lot of this intense energy went until like August. And in mid-August, I could feel breathing room, especially being that now it's Virgo season, right? And I'm a Virgo. So I was like, okay, I can see the light. Things were getting lighter, business was picking up again, just different things. But through this period between like the end of May, June, July, August, it was very harsh. And we can see the same pattern starting again. So there was a lot of hard decisions that weren't fully made, especially when we get like a lifesaver, like you're going through a hard time. It's amazing how fast humans will forget, what the struggle was, because now it's over. And you're like, oh, okay, whew, and you just tend to forget what caused or created the issue to begin with. Because just because you get favor and you have breathing room, that doesn't mean to not do anything. That doesn't mean to just sit, in some type of space of, indecision, or just playing around, or just you have to make it's time to make the hard decisions. And they weren't fully made. The cosmos will have to fast track the lesson. So for those that are just really disciplined, maybe they got it. But for many of us, because humans are just creatures of habit, it took a while for some of us to really sink in that these changes are being demanded, even right now, to this time, which brings us to the pressure cooker. So this year we dealt with, or we still dealing with, anyway, Ashe, give thanks. Uranus is in Gemini. And when that placement comes in, this just started, so we went from this heavy weight of dealing with Saturn and Pisces straight into this wild, unpredictable, lightning fast storm of Uranus and Gemini. And Uranus and Gemini is not a tap on the shoulder. It kicks the door wide open. It says, "Oh, you didn't see what was coming last year. You know, it you didn't use that breathing room to refine. Okay, here we go. You know, and then suddenly the environment is wild. All of the safety nets are ripped away. Things that we once found solid or thought was solid began to no longer be solid, right? Life starts reconstructing itself right in front of your face. And it's like you didn't choose fast enough. You stayed on the sidelines so the universe will make the decision for you. It's like when they say, if you don't make a decision, then life will decide for you. So I had to do a lot of shadow work, and that's what's in order right now. Let's talk about what happens inside that pressure cooker, though, because many people completely lose their minds right here. This is when people give up. Okay, this is when people get indifferent and numb because the heat is just too damn much. You know, it's when, I remember experiencing this, like, it was just so much pressure, but I had to keep going. I have to. It's no other option. So I began to start to dissociate. That's what I went through last year. This is how I went into my Saturnian studies. I was forced by it. I was forced into it. I was thrown into it. But so many people are under this pressure, and they handle it in different ways. We can see it playing out every day. We can see it in our media. Um, just different things that we see happening every day, that people are trying to cope with life. Sometimes we get so indifferent and numb, we just give up. And I know you guys know a few weeks ago we spoke about healthy indifference and unhealthy indifference. And there is a difference. There's a difference. I'm talking about those days when you're telling your clients and your friends to be mindful, when I'm telling my audience to be mindful, my community to be mindful, but on the inside, your own mind is ruminating. Your mind is ruminating like a ping pong ball bouncing off walls. It's kind of like a parent that is feeling the weight of the world, but you still want to be positive. You want to be empowering to your children. You don't want them to see you in a state of weakness, even though that's not reality, but we want to continue to be positive for them because we have to be, right? It's the same thing with a teacher to a student, spiritualist to whatever role we're playing in life, with our friends, with our lovers. We may not always want to come with heavy energy, but the pressure cooker is still on. It doesn't change. Ignoring it doesn't change what reality is. So you'll feel a physical weight of heat. Sometimes it comes in the form of embarrassment. Disappointment so strong that, again, you literally feel like you're dissociating from reality. You look around and think, I've practiced, I've manifested, I've done the work. So why is my manifestation only showing up or working in slow pieces right now? Or not at all, right? But let's tell the truth on this timeline tonight. Truth be told, a lot of people are watching me and have watched me over the years. It's when you get to a space where you have to stand, like one of my friends right now is telling me, keep going, you're doing good, you're doing great. Yeah, watching me right now. Shout out to him. Ashe. Um, but we get to a space sometime in life where I'm gonna be mindful of what I say. Let me when the things that, like I said, for some of us, this is like options we may have had. When you could just go into that cookie jar, like grandma used to do, and be like, here, son, here's $100 or whatever it is. Oh, and what I mean by that is life rafts. When people can throw you a life raft. When you have, it's something that's, hold on, something that I was supposed to say. I kind of skipped over, you guys, because I'm not thinking I want to go into that right now. But what happens when everything you try, And there's no one to lean on. There's nothing to lean on. There is no options. There's no lifesavers. Nothing in the cookie jar. When you've ran through your extensions, when you've been robbing Peter to pay Paul, when you've done all you can to make certain things work that's not, not going the way you want them to go in, when your energy is drained, when your business is slow, when, you don't feel supported even by your family, right? When you have to be much more clever than we can, we have to try to be even more clever than we have been in the past. And when things are still coming in, when you don't even feel like taking care of certain things or doing certain things or showing up for certain people, but life is still lifing, and bills are still coming in, and shows still got to be done. So even tonight, yeah, I'm late, but I'm here. I'm here because life's still moving. People still expecting. I put a word out there. So I do apologize to anybody that expected me to come earlier. But as I explained to you guys before, with my lifestyle and the work I do, and because I'm an energy person, sometimes it doesn't always go the way I planned. So like I said, put on your notifications and stay tuned. But this is the crucible that I'm speaking to. And for those of you who have been feeling the pressure of life and just, wondering what's going on, I'm standing right here in that fire with you guys. I'm an international reader and oracle. I'm a content creator and a single mom. Yeah, I handle my own walls. And I've poured an immense amount of time and energy into this collective for years. Sometimes to the point where the old ways of doing business simply cook themselves out. I've been a reader and a spiritualist, and even I've been doing this 25 plus years. I've been a content creator. I have over probably 800 videos on Facebook, maybe 1,000 by now. And, I've been doing content on Facebook probably about 5 years. I'll get upset or something to change and I'll change platforms, but I'm ever changing. Sometimes I just feel it's because they no longer have life in it. But the universe put me into this pressure cooker to show me exactly what I would experience if I didn't tighten up and restructure. So my next moves have to be my best moves now. I'm not down and out. I'm still blessed. But there's some people right now standing on their last. And what I mean by that is, you know, um, business has been slow. Business has been slow for my clients. I have family members that's been in the same pressure cooker. And yeah, we making it because we planting good seeds. But that warning, and I want to say this to people that may see the bricks falling, see the foundation is falling, and you continue to hold on to it, continue to show up to the same place. It's almost like having a warning, but you refuse to change. This is the time right now where you have to really be thinking and be proactive, because if not, you will, I don't know if you'll come out a diamond in the pressure cooker, because some people are really not dealing with the pressure well. And I give thanks that, I have, not always philosophically and the most intelligently, but I definitely use a lot of intelligence, but you can't always navigate. I told you guys, we talked about this last year. Some things you really got to feel your way through. You can't think your way through. And I think that's what is causing a lot of pain and a lot of, um, I'll say, delusion for some people. But I understand that, as an empath, you definitely have to feel your way through. Um, I'm kind of going off the script and on the script, you guys, because again, I want to be mindful of what I say, because this is a sensitive time for a lot of people. So the fast track came in when Uranus went into Gemini, which was in May. It was in May. And basically, it fast tracks your life till you have successfully made the pivot. So all of the things you'll just began, it's almost like going to how people go to labor ready, and you showing up every single day early in the morning like you've always done for years, but no one picks you. nothing happens. It's I don't know how to explain all of it, but I'm using labor ready because that's something that people feel they can count on, but what happens when it's not there, right? Yeah, it's really been a lot. Um, and I'm speaking to even the fact that I'm trying to move forward. Like I need to move. I want to move out of my location. I've been wanting to move for a while, but I can't just move because I've built so much where I am. There's things that I need to sell, things that I have to get rid of in order for my travel to be lighter. And I will be presenting some of those things that I also create that is for sale, and definitely not begging and asking for handouts. I would like to be supported though in this move. And if there's things that you see, my artwork, my bracelets that I make, the services that I offer, please definitely tap in with me. If you guys are on my social media, then you can always inbox me, and I will be again making videos and showing photos of what I have. And let me go into this pivot though. When you finally have made this pivot, you really have to look in reality in the eye and say, "I'm ready," or "I'm taking the reins." We can't sit on autopilot. Is the point? I could sit and lament about things that didn't go the way I wanted them to go, and how life just have a change of plans. But in reality, you have to be proactive in the change. It's not about, oh, life did this to me. We have to be willing to stand in the crucible, to stand in the fire, to stand in the pressure cooker, and allow ourselves to cook. We gotta cook too, though, right? Let her cook, like Glow say, right? But for me, that pivot means creating physical and energetic room to move ahead. Like I said, I'm wanting to get rid of things, um, bless other people, and I would say the same thing to the people watching. You too have to move and get rid of things that no longer serve you. That don't necessarily mean just moving out of your house or moving ways somewhere, but it does show that there's things that are blocking, or it actually, how can I say this? If you remove the things, like removing a block to get to the blessing, you have to remove the things that's blocking your life energetically, blocking your life physically, and sometimes those are objects. Okay, so where was I at? I was speaking to my just my preparing to move and downsize. I'm not rushing out of the door today. Like I said, nobody has to, but I just wanted to speak to when it's time to move, you gotta move. And it's not just again a physical movement, but it's making moves when things are no longer working to bridge the gap. Okay. And then it doesn't even mean that you have to give up what you're doing. A lot of these pivots mean changing how you do it. Because it's not always what we do, but how we do it. Okay. So Spirit laid it down for me clearly. You cannot walk into a elevated, fast moving future carrying the warehouse of the past. You know what I mean? You can't, it's like carrying baggage, bag lady energy or bag man energy. It's no way you can, like I always tell people, be light body. And sometimes I take that physically as well. That's why, I have to sometimes do cleansings and eat certain things and feel a certain way, because it makes, to be light body on so many levels is really tapping into the God body frequency. And yeah, diet also works with that. So for some people, that's especially the ones that may be having issues with health and energy, and addictions and stuff, then that pivot in that crucible for you may be that fighting addiction, fighting, and that's a whole nother subject, dealing with food habits and just things that feel good to us or have been comforting to us, but it may now be causing harm. I have a few people that's also having surgeries in my friend and family circle, and I want to send positive outcomes to that and put some good spirit on that of speedy recoveries or efficient recoveries. Not necessarily speedy, because speedy is not always the best, but we want them to come around to full recovery. And a lot of that does deal with dietary changes. So this is just, and that's a battle for some people too. That's literally a crucible or a pressure cooker moment when you're not accustomed to having to give up something. Some people love food. They love to eat. No shade. Love good food. And it has nothing to do with size or anything, because size in health isn't always, of course, size can play a part in our health, but you could be small or big and still have bad habits, that even go to drugs, whatever the struggle is, right? So when you level up, that's a part of it. And that's what makes it so hard though, when we're like, even people that drink heavy, it's a time when we may say, hey, I don't need this anymore. I used to drink, but it was no longer sufficient or effective for my life. It never was really effective, but it just wasn't sustainable anymore. My hangovers were lasting longer. I was going through spiritual initiations and things like that, having headaches, mood swings, and and I'm talking about after I drink, because I've never been like an everyday drinker, but when I drank to party and to forget and to just be free. And after a while, I wanted to level up. And I know that everything that I lost, the game that was being ran on me, certain things in my perception was because, I just, I couldn't, it was almost like that was weakening me. That was my weakness as far as not being aware, not being sober. So I had to make sure, sometimes I make bad choices. A lot of us do. So eventually that had to go. And I'm gonna tell you this: the success that I've reached since then is because, and everybody's different. Some people can drink and they're fine. They can smoke and be fine. Whatever it is, I smoke, but for me, the drinking was not sustainable. And again, I lost a lot of things. I've lost friends. We've gotten into arguments, relationships, all of this stuff with alcohol, right? Making bad choices, you know. Um, but once I put it in my mind in that it was a pressure cooker, because even though you'll say, okay, I'm good, I'm done, you'll find yourself right back in that same space. Your friends see you, you didn't, oh, I'm good, I don't drink anymore. They offering you alcohol or whatever it is. I'm on a diet, I don't need, I'm a vegan, and they pushing meat on you or whatever it is. That's part of the pressure cooker too. They say peer pressure. Sometimes that's the pressure. And I, even with me having to cut back on smoking and stuff like that, yeah. Because it was like sometimes that was my go-to when I'm stressed out, and it's the same thing with, again, relying on certain comforts that has been comforts to us for years, and realizing that that's no longer sustainable. That's no longer available. During COVID, I physically lost clients. I had like a few clients that passed away, and I'm not going to make it like, oh, I lost the clients, I lost money. All of that happened too, but I lost people that supported me, people that I loved, and people that loved me, right? But whatever the case, you guys, for some people, like I said, this is finances. It's Aquarius, and it's been a lot of stuff running through a house of money. From, I said Aquarius, yeah. Aquarius is in the second house, and that's actually my second house placement. So it affected me it affected me in a very intense way. And so, it was time for me to make a move. I seen like certain relationships that I had with certain clients where the lines were blurring between friendship and professionalism. People taking advantage, me having to make new rules, and that's part of the infrastructure. I just had to make, new rules and new ways that I do business. And some people are not going to like it, and the ones that really support you will be on board. But when it comes down to people disrespecting you, whether that's in a relationship, in a professional relationship, in family ships, and it comes to your integrity, sometimes you have to walk away, and that walk away is going to create a shift. It is going to alter your plans and your reality, and it will put you in a pressure cooker. Just depending on how prepared you are to make the pivot. Okay, so some people right now are trying to figure things out, like bills and stuff. I mean, I get all kind of calls and people that reach out to me. I read online what people are going through and things like that. So, like I said, I'm getting rid of a lot of stuff because I need to downsize. I decided, I'm in a big house by myself. It's just time for me to just make some changes. And a lot of you guys are called to make changes. You have stuff sitting in closets, clothes you're not wearing, TVs you don't watch, all kind of stuff right now. I'm saying turn your stash into cash, because that's gonna, for me, that's the part of the movement. Things that you make, talents that you're sitting on. For some people, these pivots that will even supplement your income will be talents that you're sitting on, things that you're not using, gifts that God is giving you, things that you think are nothing. I challenge you to rethink your value in some of the things that you actually do that you don't think nothing of. And the world is waiting for it. So that's what I'm on. So I just hope, those that support me will support me, in this move. Because this isn't a little move, this is a big move. I have to get rid of so many things and it's not going to be overnight, So yeah, I ask again for you guys to forgive me though, because sometime in this space, and I wanted to go deeper into this, but like I said, I'm a little late already. I don't want it to drag on. And when I do have something else to add to this, I will. But I'm speaking to the kind of pressure that made gasping for air. When you gasp for air, it's like it makes the righteous path harder to choose, right? I say that a lot. That's Pharrell Williams. Gasping for air make the righteous path harder to choose. They got people right now that's like, people that's had troublesome past and they've tried their best to do the right things. But it's like you get such in such a trap that the right thing doesn't seem like the right thing anymore. You've tried to give it to God. You try to continue to be on your spiritual path and things like that. And I'm telling you, that's the only thing that has really saved me is the fact that I'm, I'm on my path. I'm on my journey, and I truly believe. I understand. But then there's some days where the belief ain't believing. You like, man, okay, I made lots. Meditated. I played my singing bowls, whatever it is for you. I did my spiritual cleansing. I did a daily bread ritual, and I told you guys that I would talk about it. But my daily bread ritual actually worked. I decided to cut some energies off, and I will, I'm thinking about, I don't know, donations only for the bread ritual. I don't want to show it. I can tell you guys about it a little bit, but I don't want to show it or demonstrate it. If anybody is interested, my email is in my description. Don't leave a message in the comments. You can leave a message, but don't leave a message regarding that if you're serious about it. My email is in the comments. If you're on my Facebook, you can inbox me and just basically put Daily Bread Ritual so I know what you're contacting me about, or I won't answer it because I don't really look at my inboxes. I do read my emails. So if you're interested in the Daily Bread Ritual, as soon as I did it, I literally I literally made $300 off rep, then another $200. I'm like, okay, this is moving, and it's honestly something that spirit trained me to do. It's like I don't know, I was sitting here and I was directed by my ancestors, and so I did the Lord's Prayer, even though I'm not a Christian anymore. I still did the Lord's Prayer because it was the part about thanking Spirit for the daily bread, and the daily bread began to manifest. And again, if anybody's interested in the daily bread ritual, it's not something that fix all your problems, but it is something to give thanks. And I learned that when you count your blessings in the pressure cooker, the pressure release just a little bit. When you share your pain, when you share your experiences in the pressure cooker, like I've chosen to do tonight, it released the pressure a little bit. And no, I didn't say everything that I had scripted because, I'm going with how spirit is moving me to go. Okay, so I just wanted to just remind people though that have been dealing with the finances, especially a lot of single people. And I don't care if it's single women or men, because men go through things too, just trying, things are expensive. That's why I left California, because everything it's not a one person thing. It takes two to make a thing go right. And all of us don't have that. And it takes a lot of favor from God and hard work and focus to be able to do the things that we do as single people. Especially when you just, not don't have all of these maybe degrees or a great job or whatever it is. You're generating, you're an entrepreneur. You're gonna have ups and downs. And I'm an entrepreneur, So there's times that's great and times that's not so great. I really don't beg. I'm not a beggar. You're not gonna see me just begging for money and stuff like that, because I have skills that I offer. I have services that I offer, but I also offer my time and energy to this platform. So yes, I accept donations, but that's not where I lead from. I lead from where spirit moves me at. You get me? So, and I give thanks for donations. Ashe. Um, the thing is, I've been wanting to focus more on these platforms, and I've done what I can because I run several platforms. I'm all over right now trying to see what hits. I'm not where I want to be, but I give thanks for the movement, for the motion, for still being able to do it, for still being able to show up. So I just thank everybody. Um, and I see my regulars. I don't see them right now. That's again because I'm late. So forgive me. You guys will probably watch the replay. Um, Again, I give thanks. And let me see if there's anything else. I just wanted to go into for those that because there's a lot of people been asking me to borrow money too, and I'm like, girl, I got no money. I'm trying to borrow some money, you know what I mean? But the point is, I had to look at my own stash, all of the things, all of the treasures, all of the things I've collected through the years to see the value that I'm sitting on. Sometimes you're just really sitting on the value and don't even realize it, right? So some of you guys, it may be time to, to tap into, and we talk about this all the time, breaking out those pots and pans and tapping into our gifts, even with this AI, a lot of people have lost jobs because of artificial intelligence. And I've already spoke to the work impact and other options and things that we can look at to continue to sustain ourselves and not just sustain ourselves, but to thrive. So I will be making changes, and I'm not sure exactly, where the platforms are going. I just know I'm here now and I will be here, right? Um, so let me see, is there anything else that I wanted to look at? I have not had any guests on in a while, and that's again because it's just a lot to manage other people when I'm trying to manage me. You know what I'm saying? But I need to get back with my cousin because we were supposed to do a episode on toxic families and stuff like that. She wanted to share something on the platform, so I will get with her. And there's a few other people that's been wanting to come on Metaphysical Monday. So again, you guys, I'll be bringing them on. I wanted to also talk about a few things that I'm doing to honor my journey and to clear my physical space. Again, I'm opening up my inventory to this collective. I have a lot of handmade items. I'm an artist. I have spiritual tools that I create, services that I offer, unique assets from my personal vault on sale right now. I also make, I do things with like clothing and stuff as well. So I'm actually reopening Ocean's Closet, but it'll be a digital store now instead of a physical store. So just bear with me on that. For now, it'll be on live streams. If you guys are interested in tapping into some of my metaphysical lives, I'm starting again on Soljet Tarot. That's going to be a reading channel. So on that channel, if anybody's interested in just readings, um, you can tap in on Soljet Tarot, Soljet Tarot, and that's on Facebook. You can follow that page and you can see the readings, you can see my advertisements, what I'm doing, and also become a part of the community. Um, I'm still, and also, let me see. I'm also still offering my calendar for the burning service. It's open. I've been doing a lot of work. If anybody's interested in knowing more about the burning services, that's really designed for people who can't or prefer not to burn themselves. And these are for manifestation and dress candles for different things. If you're interested in my candle work, which I do have videos already out on that, I will also be posting more on that. Then make sure you guys tap in with me. Yeah, I've been doing some really powerful work. And that's what's been keeping me for real. I give thanks for my ancestors. I give thanks to God within me. But yeah. Anyway, let me see anything else for those of my global community who simply just love this platform. And if you want to support, make sure y'all hit subscribe if you haven't. Hit like once you catch this live. Um, and if you want to be on the community altar, anything like that, donate. Soljet community is always open. Um, and your donations and seeds are received with immense gratitude. They go directly toward building the foundation for my next journey. Because again, I'm trying to move, you guys. I need to get out of this city that I'm in. I feel really limited. I don't have support out here, not much support. So that's where I'm at. The pressure is on. The heat is screaming, but we're not freezing. We are auditing our empires, mobilizing our assets, and we are going to shut up and drive. Sometimes you gotta shut up and drive, and that means do it moving. Sometimes we can speak gifts and manifestations. We can also speak curses and really negative things on ourselves as well. So we want to keep our words clean as well. Um, I don't really, I don't really have too much more to add to the night. I hope you guys got something from this because it was like I said, it's a lot going on, and I'm definitely in that cooker because you don't even really realize how much shit you collect when you live in a house, an apartment, or whatever until it's time to move. And it's very overwhelming. It's like, oh my God. So bear with me, you guys, because I'm still doing my work, but still trying to move forward. And I had to tell you guys, I'm like, okay, I didn't go on last week. I need to talk to my community because I'm a human doing human shit. Yes, I'm a priestess. Yes, I'm an empath. All of those things can be true at the same time, but I'm still having a human experience. I'm still in this body, and sometimes that body, it comes with limitations, as we know. um Everything isn't just love and light and spiritually bypassing and things like that. And I just want people to understand, I know what it is to be in a pressure cooker. Some people see my life, especially on social media, and they just think, oh, everything's going good for her. She's been doing, look how long she's been doing X, Y, and Z, not knowing what, we don't know what anybody's going through. And on that note, reach out and touch somebody too. If it's somebody that you know in your family, your friend circle, in your community, reach out if you know they're going through some hard times, or if you don't know what's going on with them, you'll be surprised. You know, you may be able to share something, share information. Anyway, again, if anybody's interested in my daily bread ritual, want to know more about it, basically just let me know. You know, send me an email, and you will have to send me like your phone number or an email address so I can send you the link. It will be a YouTube link that only um people who you have to donate at least $5 to get the ritual though. Other than that, I'm not putting it out for the public. It is something that's private and for people that really want to just work with it. Other than that, if it's not for you, that's cool too. Ashe, love, light. And I'm gonna go ahead and end right here. You guys, and with it, what I'm working with on this daily bread ritual, let me just say, I'm using bread, obviously, but also I'm working with hematites. I'm working with coins. And it's good for like when your business is in a slump. It kind of just, it allows, just giving thanks for daily bread. Because the more gratitude we show, and there's definitely certain things, other stuff, I'm just giving y'all a little bit of it. But the more gratitude we show, just for the little things such as daily bread, more will come. That's what I've seen. So anyway, I think I'm gonna end here. We'll get back on schedule. If you guys want to hear some more of them AI bills, let me know. Other than that, I may go ahead and bring some guests back on and just see, you know, yeah, see how we can get the calendar ready for the summer because it's a lot. Y'all stay tuned for more. I want to close on this though. I just want to say, what do I want to say? I don't know. I just want to say, I wanted to end with a blessing, but I'm not sure what I want to say. So I'm just gonna say this. You guys be mindful. Don't allow people to take you out of going back to the Carmelo Anthony thing, you guys, we have to be really mindful, especially people of color. And right now, is very important because, it's still a lot of attacks going on. And some of this stuff, we can prevent ourselves, from taking place with us. We have to check our own temperament. But sometimes being in that pressure cooker, it make your patience shorter. It's easy to put somebody in a headlock or do some shit that we can't reverse. So I'm gonna just leave that there. Um, Love you guys. Whoever can get the message, thank you. Thank you for the viewers. Y'all stay tuned for more. Peace.